Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a good week. I wanted to share this week on a situation that has been difficult for me to deal with. I did an assessment on a kid a couple of weeks ago, and this kid was 11 years old, and he was coming to us straight from the mental ward at an inpatient facility, and he had been there for a week. He tried to commit suicide by cutting his arm, and so this child had lots of trauma. Talked about abuse from the time he was small. Mom was on drugs his whole life. He was placed with his grandmother I think when he was like 2 or 3, and so he had stayed with her. Mom had been in and out of his life for a long time. Dad is in prison, and when he was 6, his 9-year-old cousin was killed in a car accident, and she had been removed by DSS and was in DSS custody at the time that happened, and so that was a traumatic event for him as well, and he had had a really hard time dealing with that death. So at one point during the assessment, he told me that he did not have any happy memories at all, and that was just so very sad. So this kid has such a sad history, and to me, I felt like he was a good kid with a good heart. He just needed some positive influences and some positive direction in his life. Well, at the end of the assessment, we brought the grandmother in to sign some paperwork, and when I told her about that we were going to have to make additional appointments, that he would be seen in the office and not at school, she got very upset, and she was upset because the fact that her grandson tried to commit suicide was just an inconvenience for her. So now she's having to take him to all of these appointments and that type of thing. And that was really upsetting to me. As a matter of fact, she told him several times, she said, "I just can't deal with this. I'm tired of dealing with this," and actually left my office with the child in my office with me. So we talked for a few more minutes, went downstairs, and was making him another appointment, and grandmother was in the waiting room downstairs. So she comes over to get him, and they go to leave, and she tells him, or she proceeds to continue fussing at him, and the fussing turned into yelling, and she was yelling at him that she was going to beat his ass when they got home, and I was extremely upset about that. I'm like, this kid just tried to commit suicide. Obviously he needs some love and attention, and grandmother can't be bothered with him. And she was verbally abusing him right there in our office. And so I immediately called the police and called DSS and got them involved, in which DSS was already involved, but they were made aware of the situation. And this kid has weighed heavy on my heart for a while, ever since then. I was going to post about it in week 7, and I found myself avoiding talking about it, doing my video on it, because I just wasn't sure what to say. Still kind of processing everything in my mind. And so I've had some wonderful counselors at work that I've been able to talk to about this situation. I had made a comment one time right after they left. One of the supervisors was asking me how I felt about it, and I said, well, right now I just kind of want to go beat grandmother's ass. And but just kind of processing that with the supervisors, has made a big difference. And I'm sorry I'm running over time. This was a complicated story, but working with professionals and just kind of having that time to process everything that I was feeling about this kid made a big difference in, I believe, how I approach things professionally. And I think I've been pretty good at separating the hard stories, but every once in a while you do have a kid or a person that just really sticks with you. And so just thinking about that person a lot, I've prayed about that person a lot, and knowing that there's only so much that we can do, but every little thing that we do makes a big difference in that person's life. Thanks for listening, and I'm sorry I ran over time, and I will talk with you guys in a couple of weeks.